Irvine Unified School District stands accused of a serious breach of trust. At the heart of the issue is the district's use of powerful spyware tools, namely Managed Methods and Blocksi. These programs, marketed as tools to enhance online safety, have instead raised serious concerns about the invasion of student privacy. Parents, students, and privacy advocates are demanding answers. They want to know why a school district feels justified in monitoring students' every digital move. The allegations against IUSD are deeply troubling. They paint a picture of a school district that has overstepped its bounds, treating students like suspects rather than learners. The use of spyware represents a fundamental violation of trust, one that undermines the very foundation of the student-teacher relationship. It is imperative that we understand the full extent of IUSD's actions and hold them accountable for their choices. The potential consequences for students' privacy, their sense of autonomy, and their trust in educational institutions are far too great to ignore. We must demand transparency from IUSD and ensure that such invasive practices are never again implemented in our schools. The fight for digital privacy in our schools starts now. We cannot allow our children to be subjected to constant surveillance under the guise of safety. Imagine a school district having access to your child's every keystroke, every website visited, every message sent, even when they are at home. This is the reality for students in IUSD under the watchful eyes of Managed Methods and Blocksi. These sophisticated spyware programs operate with alarming reach, blurring the lines between school and home. Managed Methods, for instance, grants IUSD the ability to remotely monitor student activity on district-issued devices. This includes tracking browsing history, flagging keywords, and even accessing the camera and microphone. Blocksi, similarly, filters and monitors internet usage, allegedly going as far as scanning personal files and emails. While proponents argue that these tools are necessary to prevent cyberbullying and access to inappropriate content, the level of intrusion into students' private lives is deeply concerning. The problem lies in the indiscriminate nature of these tools. They do not differentiate between legitimate educational activities and personal online interactions. This means that even innocent conversations with friends, personal searches, or creative endeavors could be flagged and scrutinized. The potential for misinterpretation and unwarranted disciplinary action is significant. The use of such invasive software sets a dangerous precedent. It normalizes the idea of constant surveillance, eroding students' sense of privacy and autonomy. It is crucial that we resist the normalization of such practices and demand that schools prioritize student privacy alongside safety. It's really unsettling to know that everything we do online is being watched. It makes it hard to focus on schoolwork when you're constantly worried about being monitored. IUSD's actions raise serious legal questions, potentially violating both state and international laws. California Penal Code. Section 637.7, for instance, specifically prohibits the use of electronic tracking devices to determine the location or movement of a person without their consent. While IUSD might argue that the use of Managed Methods and Blocksi falls outside the scope of this law, the ability of these programs to track student activity on and off school grounds raises serious concerns about potential violations. Furthermore, IUSD's actions may also be in violation of international privacy laws, such as the European Union's General Data Protection Regulation. GDPR sets a high bar for data protection and requires explicit consent for the collection and processing of personal data. Given that many online platforms used by students are subject to GDPR regulations, IUSD's use of spyware to monitor student activity on these platforms could be deemed illegal. Beyond legal ramifications, IUSD's actions raise serious ethical concerns. The use of spyware represents a fundamental breach of trust between the school district, students, and their families. It undermines the expectation of privacy that is crucial for the development of autonomy and critical thinking skills. By failing to obtain informed consent from students and their parents, IUSD has acted in a manner that is not only potentially illegal, but also deeply unethical. The district must be held accountable for its actions and take immediate steps to rectify the harm caused by its invasive surveillance practices. Legal expert. These actions by IUSD are not just a breach of trust, they potentially violate significant legal frameworks designed to protect individual privacy. The implications are far-reaching and could set a dangerous precedent if left unchallenged. The impact of IUSD's spyware use extends far beyond the digital realm, casting a long shadow over students' lives. Imagine the chilling effect of knowing that your every online move is being watched and judged by school officials. This constant scrutiny can stifle creativity, limit self-expression, and create a climate of fear and distrust within the school community. Concerned parent. As a parent, it breaks my heart to see my child so anxious about using their school-issued device. They should be focused on learning, not worrying about being watched. Privacy advocates, students, especially those from marginalized communities, may be disproportionately affected by these surveillance practices. Unconscious biases can influence how online behavior is interpreted, leading to unfair targeting and disciplinary action. The potential for these tools to be used to silence dissent or punish students for expressing unpopular opinions is a serious concern. The psychological impact on students cannot be ignored. The constant feeling of being watched can lead to anxiety, paranoia, and a diminished sense of self-worth. It can also discourage students from engaging in online activities that are crucial for their education, social development, and access to information. IUSD's actions have real-world consequences for students, impacting their emotional well-being, their academic performance, and their trust in authority figures. It is imperative that we listen to the voices of students and address the very real harm caused by these invasive surveillance practices.